Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's Stupid here, and today we're going to talk about Dialga VSTAR in the new post-rotation Temporal Forces format. I'm super excited for this deck, so let's just dive right in. Dialga VSTAR has two attacks here, Metal Blast and Star Chronos. We're really playing it here for the Star Chronos to be able to take an additional turn. And of course, Metal Blast is pretty decent. It ramps up as you have more energy attached. Well, how do you get more energy attached? Well, we are using the new Metang from Temporal Forces with the ability Metal Maker. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 4 cards of your deck, attach any number of basic metal energy you find there to your Pokemon any way you like, shuffle the other cards, and then put them on the bottom of your deck. So let's just dive right in here into this deck profile. We are playing a 3-3 line of Dialga VSTAR here. As aforementioned, we have the VSTAR and of course the V. Nothing too crazy here. Metal Coating and Temporal Rupture to do 180. Metal Coating attaches energy from the discard pile. And the brand new Metang that we just covered, we are playing a 4-3 line. You could also push it a little bit further and play the new Metagross if you really want to. I'll throw an image up on screen somewhere over here if you want to take a look at that. But for the most part, we're just using this for the ability from Metal Maker. And we're playing a 4-3 line, so we get set up pretty quickly. And for some more Pokemon, we have a single copy of Lumineon V for Luminous Science. Search your deck for a supporter card. Basically just another way to get set up. We have a 1-1 line of Bidoof and Bibarel for Industrious Incisors drawn, so you have 5 cards in your hand. And of course, the Bidoof has Carefree, Countenance. As long as it's on the bench, it's immune to damage from attacks. We have a single prize, Zamazenta in here, 130 HP with the ability Metal Shield. If it has any energy attached, takes 30 less, so it's effectively 160 HP on a single prizer. The attack is Retaliate 100 plus 120 if one of your opponent's Pokemon knocked out one of yours during their last turn. And last but not least, we have a single copy of Mew EX from 151. For the ability Restart, once during your turn, you may draw until you have 3 cards in hand. And the attack is actually usable here, Genome Hacking. For 3 colorless, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. Metal Maker doesn't restrict where you attach energy to, so you can attach it to Mew. In the past, there have been other things like Magnezone and whatnot where you can only put them on certain Pokemon. Well, here we go. This is where it's at. In terms of supporters, we are playing 3 copies of Arven to get set up, grab an item and a tool card from your deck. We'll talk about the tools and the items momentarily, but let's just go through the supporters. Of course, Boss's Orders for some gusting KOs. This is really important for the Star Chronos turn to be able to just gust something up and take a decision on like what you want to knock out to be able to swing in for your free turn and then go on and so forth. So like if you say, for example, they have something like a Lumineon, a Mew, a Rotom, you can just bosses that up, Star Chronos, take 2 prizes, and then potentially, ramp up really high with your Metal Blast on the next attack on your second back-to-back turn. All right, we have 2 copies of Iono for some hand disruption and resetting. We have 1 single copy of Professor's Research. Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. So if you need to reset what you've got in your hand, this is just probably the best way to do it. But we don't want to discard too much. We have a lot of pieces here, so we want to keep those. So that's why we're playing more Iono than Research. Last but not least, we have a single copy of Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking, another new card from Temporal Forces. Search your deck for 2 cards, shuffle your deck, and then put those cards on top of it in any order. This works really well with Restart, Industrious Incisors, and Metal Maker. You're able to combo pretty well with any of these. Oh, I need 2 energy to be able to Star Chronos. Cool, I haven't used Metal Maker. All right, Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking, 2 energy on top, shuffle the rest. Put those 2 energy on there. Metal Maker, you're guaranteed at least 2 energy that way. If you need to draw a evolution piece or an item or whatever, you're able to lock them in with Bibarel and Mew with Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking. This card is honestly one of my favorite cards in the set, and I have it in a whole bunch of different decks that have things like Mew and Bibarel. For items, we have 3 copies of Ultra Ball, discard 2 cards, search for a deck for a Pokemon. This is how you're going to grab your Metang, your Dialga VSTAR, or your Lumineon or Bibarel. We've got 3 copies of Nest Ball to grab a basic from the deck and bench it. That's going to cover everything except for the Bibarel, the Metang, and the Dialga. And you don't want to Nest Ball Lumineon. You don't get the ability that way. Another new card from the set, we have Buddy Puffin. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less and put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. This is just to find Beldum and Bidoof to get set up. We want to be able to get as many Beldum down as possible turn 1. That way we can start using Metal Maker turn 2 and hopefully Star Chronos. All right, we have a single copy of Switch to move in and out of the active spot. And we also have a Prime Catcher. switch in one of your opponent's Pokemon to the active spot. If you do, switch your active with your bench Pokemon. So that's where the Mew comes in. It's got free retreat. So if you have the Dialga in the active, you can gus something up with this and then just retreat back that Mew to the bench. Now, this is an A spec. These are new for Temporal Forces. If you've been around for quite some time, you've seen these in the past in the black and white era at the very, very tail end. But you can only play one A spec card in your deck. Right now we have 7 to pick from. This is by far the best one. And actually in this list with the Arvins, I'd much rather be playing the Hero's Cape or the Giant Cape, whatever the actual name is, where it gives 100 HP to a Pokemon. I don't have that card, so for the sake of this video, I'm going to play Prime Catcher, which this is in a vacuum the best A-Spec that we have access to in the standard format right now. However, I think with the Arvin engine in here, that Cape giving extra life to Mew or Lumineon, or even Dialga for that matter, really does make a big difference. So keep that in mind. You can probably play either or. In terms of gusting, we also have a counter catcher. If we're behind in prizes, we can just bring up one of their Pokemon to the active. It's basically an item boss's orders as long as we're behind on prizes. And typically we're going to be until we start using Star Chronos and steal an extra turn. We have a Lost Vacuum to remove tools and or any stadiums from play with the Lost Zone a card in our hand to be able to Lost Zone that tool or stadium from play. So if they have a cape or a belt or whatever else in terms of A-Specs, we can just remove them from the game altogether. We then have 2 copies of Super Rod to put back Pokemon and or energy. Specifically later in the game when your deck's a little bit thinner and you want to be able to guarantee Metal Maker, you just load energy back in there, shuffle it up, and then hopefully Metal Maker will fire off. You can potentially draw through your whole deck, replenish it with Super Rod, and then Metal Maker guarantees going to hit you a couple energy cards. For our tools, and this is where like I said, I would play the Cape if I had it. So we're playing the Prime Catcher instead, but we have 2 copies of Technical Machine Evolution. You can give this to one of your Pokemon and it gains the attack here. Choose up to 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, search your deck for a card that evolves from that Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. So if you go second, you can Arvin for TM Evolution and have whatever you have in the active used for 1 energy, attack with Evolution and evolve into Matangs or Bibarel or even technically a Dialga if you really wanted to. And the last tool card is a Vitality Band, 10 extra damage. This does help the Dialga modify a little bit since we are dealing with even numbers by the multipliers of 40 or the 220 if you need to hit 230 into, say, an Iron Hands or a Roaring Moon EX on your Star Chronos. This makes all the difference there. There are a lot of 230 HP basic Pokemon floating around. We have 1 single copy of Collapse Stadium to go ahead and remove the Lumineon or a damaged Pokemon from our bench, and also to help prevent our opponent from setting up a full bench of 5. And finally, we have 15 copies of basic Metal Energy. That way Metal Maker does its thing and fires off. You need an absolute metric ton of energy to make this deck do what you need it to do. So it's just kind of essential. I've seen some play 13 or 14. I've seen some play 17. I think 15 is probably the right balance with 2 Super Rods. That way you can put them back into the deck and reuse them. And of course we have the Cypher Maniac to just stack 2 on there, and then Metal Maker. And it's a lot of fun. This is not, I want to say it's not like the highest tier deck going into the new format, but it's a lot of fun. It really is. This is so enjoyable to play Dialga all over again. I have built an absolute ton of decks recently. I bought this giant Monster brand Deca deck box, and it holds, you can see my face, hi! It holds 10 decks in here, so we've gone a little nuts building. Both sides are completely full. And even more decks. I just got my last copies of Iron Crown, so I'm probably going to build Turbo Hands, and it's just been a lot of fun. Last week I streamed some tabletop play testing with my partner on Twitch. I will probably chop that VOD up into a little bit of gameplay and throw that out here for you guys. But if you don't want to wait for that, because it'll probably be a little bit, check me out over on twitch.tv/stupid. Links is always down in the description below for more tabletop stuff. Next week I'll be joined by the one and only Trezor, and we're going to play some post-rotation tabletop testing, pre-EUIC and whatnot. A lot of our locals will be going to Indy So we're gonna start taking things a little bit seriously as well. And I've been just doing a lot of card game stuff in general, playing Lorcana, playing Dragon Ball Super, and a lot of that's over on Twitch. So again, link down in the description below. Drop me a follow over there. If you made it this far at the end of the video and you enjoy this deck profile for Dialga VSTAR, let me know in the comments. And of course, smash that subscribe button to make sure you stay up to date with all of the content here on this channel. And if there's a deck that you want to see, let me know. I will probably put some decks that we played on stream over on TikTok, so drop a follow over there, of course, if you're in the Discord server. There's also a few pictures of some of the lists that we played with on that stream as well, like Dinobox, Lugia, Charizard, and Shin Pao. So go check those out. Discord links down in the description below. Let me know you came from YouTube. That'd be super awesome. But that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video without me rambling too crazy and too fast here. But much love. I'll see y'all in the next one. Take it easy.